I'm very relieved and happy to report that I have finally seen and experienced significant progress in the area of productivity in the last couple of months, which is why I'm making this video. And the reason for this amazing upswing in productivity in my life is due to 5 very crucial habits, systems, mindset shifts that has taken place in my life. And this is what I want to share with you. So if you are a fellow procrastinator or a procrastinator, recovering procrastinator, as I see myself now, then this video is for you. So the first and probably the most important topic, reason why I have gone from being a total procrastinator to somebody who is now actually getting things done. The biggest thing, the top thing I credit this little change with is recovering my creativity. Uncovered my creativity by means of a wonderful book that I stumbled upon by accident called The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron. This book has literally saved my life. I am dramatic on purpose because that is, I mean it. I really credit this book for initiating this change in my life. I don't think, I know it wouldn't have happened otherwise. I can say that with the greatest honesty and confidence that I know that it wouldn't have happened without this book. This book was the initiator for this major change in my life. Like I said, I've been procrastinating for my whole life. I'm nearly, and when I started reading this book, it's like not a light bulb went off in my head, like a gunshot went off in my head. And I realized all these little things that I thought were just my little unique little issues that I was dealing with was actually textbook creative block. So this book, which is not just a book that you read, it's a course that you do. It's 12 weeks that you complete a course. This book highlighted, it was like the manual for my life. It was like a manual for how to get unstuck, which is why I credit this. This is number one reason. If this book didn't happen, if I didn't come across this book and I didn't complete this course, I don't think, no, I know I wouldn't be where I am now. I would not be making a video about improved productivity. I wouldn't even have made the video, full stop. I would still be planning on starting a YouTube channel. So the biggest thing I took from this book is that I started understanding creativity. I started understanding how I was blocking myself from creativity. Just understanding these things has made a massive, massive difference. I can't actually emphasize this enough. And this book also gave me a very important tool that I'm still currently doing to this day, which is called morning pages. And this tool has helped me stay unstuck. So the book helped me get unstuck, and the tools, one of which is the morning pages, has helped me stay unstuck. There's a couple of tools that you learn in the book. This is also why I say these are habits and mindset shifts that have really helped me get to the other side. I will make a video about my whole review on The Artist's Way where I can go into it a little bit more in depth, and I will link all of those in the description below. I have also made a video about morning pages and just going in about what I really got from them, doing them now for over a year, as well as tips and tricks about getting the most out of The Artist's Way. And I will make hundreds more of these videos, and you will hear me say these words or mention The Artist's Way a million times. That's number one. The second thing I can credit is a mindset shift that has formed more of a habit for me, and that is showing up every day. Showing up every day is, like I said, a mindset shift, and it comes from understanding how creativity works and understanding how things get done. Showing up every day. Showing up every day means you're not waiting for inspiration to strike before you take action. It means you're not working towards some exact outcome. You are doing it for the sake of progress. You're looking for progress and not for the outcome. The third thing is that you are stacking proof for yourself that you can do it. You are building confidence and trust with yourself by showing up every single day. Not waiting for creativity to strike, not waiting for the mood to strike, not waiting for yourself to have a good hair day or a positive mood day. And being less focused on the outcome and being more interested in the process and about your own progress is what I would ultimately credit as something that has really moved the needle for me. This is not an overnight thing. This is not something that happens overnight. That's why I'm calling it a habit, because it's something that you have to go purposefully build, and you build it while you keep in mind that this is why you're doing it. It's not to create some big effect. This is not like a home makeover where one moment the house looks like crap and the next moment it looks amazing. Those sorts of things are built into our society. It helps us have unrealistic expectations about life in general, because things happen slowly and over long periods of time. And if you understand that and you realize that, it's easier to show up every day and just do the work every day. The other important part about showing up every day is that you are maintaining momentum. And I think this is a big issue for most people who are procrastinators like myself, is that initial starting up sequence takes so much energy out of you that you feel so drained and you don't have the energy to maintain it, and then you stop, and then to get restarted again is this whole thing again. So by never stopping, but by doing it in a way that is maintainable, you are maintaining momentum. It's much easier to continue while you are in the motion of something than have to start something from scratch. I hope that makes sense. The third way I have kept myself productive is by digitally organizing, capturing and organizing all of my notes. And this is basically done through a system. I'm going to call this a system called building your second brain, or building a second brain. This is what I've learned from a very smart guy called Tiago Forte. I have read his book, Building a Second Brain. He also offers a course, but he also has a very informative YouTube channel and a very informative newsletter that you can go and look up. He's at Forte Labs. But anyway, this idea, this way of storing and organizing your information, your content, everything that you come across on a daily basis, you digitally capture this. You get into the habit of doing this, digitally capturing it, storing it in a place where you know you're going to find it again. You do this by assigning everything with tags. Tag, tag, tag. Everything you can. That makes it very easy to discover again. So when you do look for it, when you need it, you know exactly where to find it. This obviously saves you tons of time, and it helps you by not having to ever start from scratch, really. You always have something that you've already done, work that you've already done, something that you've already written, something that you've already highlighted that you can start with. You can have a multitude of projects going on at the same time and still stay organized. I will go into more detail about how I am currently doing this, especially as a creative person. So then the fourth thing I am crediting for my newfound productivity and for staying productive is meeting my own needs. This may sound a bit strange to some of you. It is basically self-care, but it's a bit deeper than that. So before I was productive, when I was a procrastinator, I did not meet my needs. I didn't recognize that I had needs, and specifically I didn't recognize when I was actually feeling stressed. I would then cover up that stress by distracting myself, hence the procrastination, and when I distracted myself, I would feel a momentary relief from the stress, But because I was never addressing the actual underlying stress, it never went away. So it kept bubbling up and distracting me and keeping me from doing the things that I actually needed to do. And now just understanding that I was part of that cycle, that I was perpetuating the cycle, and becoming more aware of when I am actually feeling stressed really helped me to circumnavigate the cycle, to basically break the chains. And I don't even know where to start. It's actually so major. It's so strange that such a small thing could have been the cause of all these years of, this negative cycle going on. Because therein also lies that shame bit where you then beat yourself up because you have now, instead of doing the thing you needed to do, decided to watch Netflix again. And then you beat yourself up because now clearly you have no discipline. What a useless person you are. And the more you beat up on yourself, the less you're going to do. So the other thing I used to do was just really be very hard on myself. I really thought that was me having high standards, or my perfectionism, meaning that I'd have high standards, but it really wasn't. Now I understand that it was just another way I was blocking myself, and it was causing more damage, being so hard on myself, constantly beating myself up. I'm not saying that you shouldn't hold yourself accountable. That is a whole other issue. But being horribly hard on yourself. So, how I try to think about this is, if I was going to try and be encouraging towards a friend, I would never say the things that I say to myself to that friend. If a friend came to me and said, I'm really stressed, I'm finding it really hard, to complete this thing, or I'm finding it really hard to study for this test, I wouldn't tell them, but why do you even think you'll be able to do it? Because you clearly have never shown that you can. So, just give up, you lazy person. I would never say that. It would never even occur to me to say that. That is not encouraging. So I realized that I was being so discouraging towards myself. And when I stopped being discouraging and I thought about how I would speak to my inner child, how would I speak to my own child? I would never say those things to my own child. I would never go off on them like I do on myself. And so I've started changing that. I've started changing how I speak to myself. I've started asking myself what it is that I need. I know that sounds so weird, and it is to me still so weird. Just because it's so foreign. I've just never done it before. Never even considered that I had needs. I mean, I really looked at self-care as going to have your nails done or your hair done or something like that and calling it a day. That's not self-care. I mean, that's something fun to do and you should do it, but that's not self-care. When you really ask yourself what it is that you need, and then you really try and meet that need, sometimes what you need isn't what you want. Think about that. The fifth thing that I credit my improved productivity with as a recovering procrastinator is something I learned again in The Artist's Way, but it needs to be mentioned in isolation on its own, because it was so helpful and still is today. In The Artist's Way, she calls this little exercise reading deprivation. But because this book was written in the 70s, there was no smartphones, which obviously made life even worse for all of us who are feeling distracted. So I'm calling it media deprivation. Now what this is exactly basically what it sounds like. For a period of time, you completely stop reading books, you completely stop watching content on your phone or on your computer, you stop watching TV, you stop all of it. I would say for a week, this is your challenge. Try and do this for a week and see how your life changes. I realized that I was using reading as a distraction. It is very easy to fall in this trap because you think that reading is constructive and beneficial, and how could it be ever seen in any negative fashion? But if you are using it as a distraction, as a way to get out of doing the thing, because learning about the thing is easier than actually doing the thing. But you'll never know if you've been learning if you don't do. So this is the cycle I was caught up in. I would read a shitload about stuff that I needed to thought I needed to know, and then I would just never follow it up with action. So then I stopped reading, I stopped watching any content, and for a whole week I realized that my actual thoughts that had value, that I actually didn't know were there, started to emerge, because I wasn't constantly bombarding myself with input, that I was finding it easier to actually have output. So I'm not saying you should do this all the time. You don't need to do this all the time. But think about learning and productivity as a double-edged sort of, or there's two sides of the coin. On the one hand, you're learning, and on the other hand, you are integrating what you're learning. When you are in the learning phase, it's fine to go and watch YouTube videos on how to do the thing that you want to do, and it's fine to go and read up about it. But at some point, you need to draw the line in the sand and go, okay, now I'm actually going to go try out these things that I've been learning. And that is where the integration portion of it, or the side of the coin, comes in. That now you need to go and take what you've learned, and actually put it into practice. And during that time, it is more beneficial for you to just completely cease all the reading and all the external input that you are getting. Give your brain some time to really integrate what it has learned in the past couple of weeks or days or whatever. And I promise you, whenever you feel slightly overwhelmed, slightly anxious, or you just feel yourself becoming slightly more towards procrastination, just cut out all external inputs that you are currently doing. The only thing I do when I'm in that phase is I'll listen to music, because that actually lifts your spirits. It feeds your soul. Listening to 20 podcasts while I'm cleaning the kitchen, I love it, but it's not really feeding my soul, and it's not really helping me then go and do my own thing. You just constantly feel like you don't know enough. And so you just constantly feel like you don't know enough. So you keep looking for more information, and it's a deathly spiral. Productivity without purpose is pointless. Keeping busy for the sake of busyness is just another form of distraction, and it's not being productive. So productivity is not a thing within itself. It is an action towards a purpose. That is the only goal at the end of the day. For us all to live our best lives and to get the things done that we want to get done, that's important for us. There's no point in working yourself to the bone towards a goal that is not yours. I'm sure you know this already. So please share with me, if you don't mind, if you are a procrastinator, if you've really struggled with procrastination. I would love to hear about what has worked for you, or maybe some of your struggles. I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to find out what has worked for you, and I really hope that you find something that will help you here, because if it could help me, you are not without hope. Please, I've felt hopeless for so long. I feel like, really, if I can do it, you can too. I felt like the most hopeless case in the world, and turns out there was hope for me after all. So thank you so much for watching. Enjoy your day, and I hope to see you soon.